Hello, and welcome back to my Fire Emblem 8 0% Growths Reverse Recruitment LTC. I'm Osfae, and today we're going to be looking at Chapter 13. This is a clear that I am very excited to share with you guys today. Chapter 13 is by far the chapter that I spent the most amount of time on in my, all my time working on this playthrough. And as a result, we came up with a clear that I'm pretty proud of. Most of the clears that I've seen, at least in a 0% growth context, have been 4-turn clears, but we're actually able to do a 3-turn clear here for a variety of reasons that I will soon cover. But before we start talking about things in detail, I would like to say there are so many moving parts and so much going on in this clear that I am bound to miss something. And so if you would like to see a much more detailed write-up and, know in much more detail everything that's going on that I won't be able to cover in a 10-minute commentary, I will link a Reddit post in the description of the video that will have a much more thorough write-up on, pretty much everything going on. So yeah, feel free to check that out. There are 3 main obstacles to getting a 3-turn clear. The first is actually getting to all of the enemies. So, this is a route map and we have to kill every single enemy on the map, and they start pretty spread out, and if you didn't know, most of them don't really start moving until you kill the boss Selena. And so a big part of getting this 3-turn clear is being able to kill Selena on turn 1 and immediately get all the enemies to start moving towards us. And this is something that kind of sets this clear apart from normal recruitment, because as far as I know, in normal recruitment it isn't really something that's doable, killing Selena on turn 1, that is. The reason we're able to kill Selena on turn 1 is that we have Tethys, our dancer, starting near, the rest of our units. And that's not something that you can do in normal recruitment. In normal recruitment, Tethys starts all the way on the right side of the map. But since she starts near our main force, we're able to dance an 8-move flyer, in this case, Syrene, and she's able to reach Selena on turn 1 and take her out. So that was the first and arguably the biggest obstacle in the way of getting the 3-turn clear. I'll talk about the other ones when they come up, because I don't want to, completely neglect what's going on, from a moment-to-moment basis. So yeah, we'll talk about those later. We will now be starting the first enemy phase, and each enemy phase tends to have a lot of risk involved. This isn't the most reliable clear in the world. I more just kind of wanted to showcase that this 3-turn clear was possible. But out of the 3, this is the most reliable enemy phase. I'll just say that. Syrene will be seeing a lot of combat. Like we talked about, she killed Selena on turn 1. She's actually going to do a neat little convoy swap in a little bit after she kills the Cavalier that drops the Dragon Spear. And she's going to use the Dragon Spear drop as an opportunity to send the Killing Edge to the convoy and equip the Silver Sword. And this is mainly just to boost reliability. We want her to kill a lot of the Cavs that she, enters into combat with, and in order to do this with the Killing Edge, she needs to crit at least 1 out of 2 attacks, and so convoy swapping to the Silver Sword just means that she doesn't need to rely on any crits to, one-round the rest of the Cavaliers that she fights. She's actually going to do another convoy swap on turn 2 player phase after she kills the Troubadour that drops the energy ring, and she's going to use this as an opportunity to convoy swap to the Armor Slayer, which lets her one-round the Armor Knight that is currently to the southeast of her and will engage her on the next enemy phase. We're going to be dropping off Natasha on the left side of this kind of, central island on the next player phase with Cormag, and she's going to be in charge of taking out the rest of the enemies in the middle portion of the map, and then the eventual Pegasus reinforcements on turn 3. The only problem with this is that the Armor Knight isn't actually able to reach Natasha by turn 3, and so by having Syrene convoy swap to the Armor Slayer, we're able to ensure that Syrene can one-round the Armor Knight, and then Natasha can clear out the rest of the middle part of the map. So that covers the middle portion of the map. In the meantime, we sent Amelia and Joshua over to the left side of the map. Joshua is equipped to handle the fighters, and it's kind of why we wanted him promoted for this map. And Amelia is equipped to take out the Cavaliers and the single Armor Knight with her Regent Leaf. That gives her, you know, effective damage. We also address the second big obstacle to getting the 3-turn clear here, and that is stealing the Speedwing from the mage that starts in the bottom portion of the map. To steal the Speedwing, we need to get a Thief over to the mage by turn 3, and I was able to figure out that by moving a 7-move flyer their full move on the first 2 turns and make sure that they're carrying a Thief on turn 2, we can drop the Thief off on a very specific river tile that gives them just enough movement to reach the mage on turn 3. Because I needed Tana to do a take drop on turn 1, we instead rescued Renak with Kyle on turn 1 and then had him pass Renak off to Tana on turn 2. So that's kind of how we did that. I guess now's a good time to talk about the new units that we get on this map, the Garrick and Tethys replacements, Garcia and Ross. They are both fighters with pretty low speed and pretty solid strength. Ross is a little bit better than Garcia, and so he's the one that gets promoted to hero. However, even with the promotion, he only has 10 speed. Fortunately though, he can kind of excel even without having a crazy amount of speed, and that's mainly because he has a very, very good strength stat. He has 17 strength after promotion, and so his main role as a combat unit is going to be doing crazy amounts of damage with effective weaponry and or killer weapons. And so he's going to be, you know, putting in a lot of work, even though he has quite lacking speed and pretty okay bulk. We're immediately going to see that in action, since we have Archer hand him a halberd on turn 2, and that lets him one-shot a couple of the cavs that he fights on the next enemy phase. As this enemy phase wraps up, we get to see the last major obstacle that gets in the way of us getting the 3-turn clear, and that is a single brigand reinforcement. Why is this single brigand such a nuisance? Well, let me tell ya. So, he starts off in the bottom right of the map, pretty far away from a lot of our units. He has a hand axe, and he has just enough speed that out of our entire army, we only have 2 units that can reliably double and one-round him from 2 range. And those 2 units are Natasha and Archer. Natasha is already preoccupied with clearing out the center of the map, and so my only option was to find a way to get Archer there in time. The solution that I eventually came up with was to rescue Archer with Syrene on turn 3, which is why Syrene needed to take out the Armor Knight on turn 2 enemy phase, and then dance Syrene with Tethys and have Syrene drop Archer in range. That's also the reason why we had to do a little rescue take drop with Tethys on turn 2, just to move her up a couple extra tiles to make sure that she was able to dance Syrene. And with that, we are all done setting things up to end the map on the next enemy phase. It is a pretty sketchy enemy phase. Some units face a chance of death. Amelia, in particular, faces a very real chance of dying. She needs to kill 5 Cavaliers and an Armor Knight. If she gets hit by the Armor Knight, she needs to dodge 4 out of the 5 Cavaliers. But if she dodges the Armor Knight, she only needs to dodge 2 out of the 5 Cavaliers, which I believe comes around to about 40% chance of success. So she faces a very real chance of dying here. Natasha also risks death, although she has pretty good avoid, so her odds of surviving are a lot better. Syrene would face a chance of dying if we didn't use the Pure Water on her on turn 1. She's only fighting the mage, and so having that Pure Water just gives her that extra little res bonus and lets her survive. I didn't talk about it on the last turn, but Cormag faced a chance of death. I talk about that and using the Angelic Robe on Syrene, which is something else I neglected to mention, in a lot more detail in the Reddit write-up. So if you want to know kind of more about that and how I made the decisions around those 2 choices, check out the Reddit write-up. Archer just killed the Brigand, and I know he crit the Brigand, but you'll have to trust me that he has the speed and damage to double and one-round him. It's kind of just how the RNG worked out. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. This was a clear that I'm very proud of. I probably spent at least like 20 to 30 hours working on this chapter alone through the, 4 to 5 separate clears I've come up with, and then, finally that kind of came together in this 3-turn clear you see, so, it's something I'm pretty happy with. But yeah, that's chapter 13 in 3 turns. Peace.